The USA and Mexico will face off tomorrow night in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. The US trying to make it back-to-back titles in the CONCACAF Nations League, while Mexico is trying to get their first win over the US in about 4 years maybe. So tomorrow night in Las Vegas on the Strip under the lights, it's going to be a sellout, and I'm here to preview the game, everything you need to know going into this game for the US men's national team. For the US, the big thing to note is obviously the addition of Balogun. He's expected to make his debut tomorrow. I'm hoping he starts, but just knowing US soccer and the coaching staff that has been around the team over the past few years, I'm putting very little hope in that. Although I really think he should be starting. He is the most informed player we have. 21 goals in the French top flight. Nobody else compares. It's either going to be him or Ricardo Pepi. He's coming off a good season in the Dutch league, but you just can't compare the Dutch league to the French league. Especially a guy, he switched allegiances from England to the US just to come into this camp. In my opinion, we got to go with him. We got to go with our most informed players. We got to go with our best players to send a message to Mexico. And really just, if we start him, if he gets on the end of a cross, it's going in. His finishing is great. No, unlike any other American striker we have had in decades. I mean, we just have to go all out. We have to play our best players, and that involves Balogun in the starting lineup. Some other things to know, if you guys haven't known already, Tyler Adams and Yunus Musa are out of this camp due to injury. So it will be interesting to see what we go with in the midfield. I do think this roster kind of lacks a natural six who can just stay back and drop in between and cut out those passes. I really think it's tough to say, because really the only player who excels at the sixth role is Johnny Cardozo, who has very little national team experience, especially in a huge game like this. I think that could be a risk going with him, but at the same time, I mean, whoever else we trot out there, it kind of lacks like a good defensive presence. I mean, McKennie, more of an 8. If you put Reyna in the midfield as like an attacking mid, I mean, it's hard to think of where the defense would come. So I think that might be something the interim head coach, BJ Callahan, might do, but it's really tough to predict. And then we have some interesting additions into this roster, such as Taylor Booth, and then guys like Alan Senora, who were in that Mexico friendly back in April. They were in that roster and featured. That was kind of a head scratcher selection to the finals Nations League roster to me, but I mean, I guess it's good depth. I mean, certainly not a player who should be getting over like 20 minutes, really. Hopefully he doesn't see the field at all, quite frankly. But that will be interesting to see. Now, the other big question coming into this game is what the center back pairing will be. Now, Miles Robinson coming back from an Achilles injury, he's had a pretty subpar MLS season from what I've seen so far. I don't watch a lot of Atlanta United games or MLS for that matter, but just based on Twitter and other highlights, not his best season so far, which is expected. I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury. He missed the World Cup because of that. But that's something to look out for, what that center back pairing will be. Will it be Richard Zimmerman? Will it be Robinson Zimmerman? Or will it be someone like Richards and Robinson? It's going to be really interesting to see how that will play out. And quite frankly, I think seeing Walker Zimmerman's season with Nashville, he shouldn't be within a 2-mile radius of the stadium, just looking at some of his highlights from this season, but especially after his performances in the World Cup. But my fingers are crossed. Personally, my center back pairing would be Richards and Robinson. And John Brooks has been out of the team for about 2 to 3 years now, with no sight of him, not even on the Gold Cup roster. So I am a little bit worried about that center back pairing. They're going to be going up Santi Jimenez, who is in form this year in the Dutch league, and the other options they have, I think Raul Jimenez, who we pretty much neutralized. He's really a shell player he used to be back in the day, but it will be a big test for them with the Mexico attackers. But I think if we just stay focused throughout the game, we stick to our men, we stay organized, Matt Turner communicates effectively with his back line, then we should have no problem realistically shutting out the Mexican attack. So, and then obviously in goal, I think the only one you can play is Matt Turner, even though he's riding the bench at Arsenal. I mean, he's been the number one throughout the World Cup, throughout the past couple of years, so I think it would be absolutely crazy to stick Sean Johnson in there. So I'm not worried about that happening, but just to confirm, Matt Turner should be starting this game. I mean, just some thoughts about the game, just picturing it in my head, how it's going to play out. It's going to be a loud atmosphere. Probably the crowd's going to be probably pro-Mexico, mostly Mexican fans. It will be loud. It'll be interesting to see how communication on the pitch is. I believe the stadium in Las Vegas is either has a retractable roof, or it's one of those roofs where it kind of like partially open, but it's also enclosed. So expect it to be a loud, rowdy atmosphere. But also think again, it's nothing our players haven't faced. I mean, 2 years ago, some of the veterans on the roster now, like McKennie, they were 2 years younger. They went into the Nations League final last time in a similar stadium with capacity and similar fans, and we put up a brave performance. So I won't expect that to be an issue. I am interested to see how Balogun, if he's going to be nervous. I would pay attention to his first few touches. That's going to indicate, how he's feeling. I mean, he's bound to feel nervous, but he's also a top prospect in the world. So I think the occasion shouldn't be too big for him, but that's something really to look out for. If Pepe starts, which there's a big chance he might, I mean, I think we're going to look into, putting balls in the box, seeing if he can get on the end of it. It kind of does concern me if he does start. I mean, usually against the stronger sides where he's come up against, he's kind of been neutralized. So that will be interesting to see if he can create space for himself. If he does get onto a header, or maybe something's whipped in the box first time, can he get the shot on frame, or is he going to stay composed really? Because it's going to be a game where you got to make the most of those half chances, and any opportunity on goal has to be quality. So it will be interesting to see, what version of Ricardo Pepi shows up tomorrow. But I really do think now is the perfect time to be playing Mexico. I mean, they didn't make it out of the group stage in the World Cup. Their coaching situation is a mess. They hired a coach from the Mexican League, Diego Coca. And his first few results with Mexico have not been good. I mean, the reason they're facing us in the semifinals is because they couldn't beat Jamaica at home. So really, this is the perfect time to be playing this Mexican team. Yeah, they had a few guys here and there, like Jimenez coming off a good club season, but they also have a lot of old, out-of-form players playing in the Mexican League. And quite frankly, Ricardo Pepi said this in the interview, we just have more quality than them. This is a game that we should be beating. we should be beating them by multiple goals as well. I expect and hope that we can put at least 2 goals in. My predictions for the game really could be anywhere from, my honest prediction is 2-1. I would like to see 3-1, and I know we have the quality to do that to Mexico, especially this side. But it also is going to come down to individual mistakes, playing in an atmosphere and the stakes like that. I mean, it's no World Cup game, obviously, but like a lot of these players coming new to the roster, such as like Taylor Booth, he's, for example, it's his first big competitive experience with the team. So really keep an eye out for those just individual mistakes, because those can be costly in games like this. But I'm confident, and I think the entire fan base should be confident. Our coach, who knows about him? He's one of the MLS insider guys, I'm sure. I don't know, he might even be getting some sort of commission for putting a certain number of MLS players in the lineup, but hopefully he can just string it together for these few games. And then the Gold Cup, I mean, no, really, we're sending a charity squad to that. So, I mean, I don't know what to think of that, but just get through this without embarrassing ourselves, get some trophies, and then let's hire a coach to lead us into the 2026 cycle. So game is tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Nations League semifinal versus our biggest rival, Mexico. Beat them haven't lost to them in like the last 4 or 5 times. So let's make it another one. This was my preview. Let me guys know what you think in the comments down below. Who should start, who shouldn't start, and your score predictions for the game. I'll try to start posting more on YouTube. I do have an Instagram. I'll link that down below. But please subscribe, and I will see you soon.